questions for them. Then we will move on to our sheriff's candidates. So, we will rotate each question. We'll begin with the next person in line. We have decided to go as they are seated. And so, our first question for our county mayor candidates, beginning with Mr. Beecham. You have 2 minutes to respond to this.
Opening statements.
Oh, opening statements. Yes, I'm sorry. You'll have 1 minute for opening statements. Thank you, Mr. Vance. You'll have 1 minute for opening statements, and we'll begin with Mr. Beecham.
Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight. The fact that you took time of your day is a big testament to the county's future and all that it offers. My name is Robert Boo Beecham. I'm a first term as your Stewart County Mayor. I was born in Houston County in 1978 to John and Paulette Beecham. My dad's a Vietnam veteran who later retired at TVA. My mom's a business owner here in Stewart County. I am thankful that I was raised and needed to be raised with a Bible and a belt. In 1998, I married my high school sweetheart, Randy Barrow, and later on, we had 2 lovely children. All right, and that's enough.
Mr. Hartigan.
Good evening. Good evening, Chris Hartigan, running for Stewart County Mayor. Been here for about 5 years. I'm originally from East Tennessee. My wife and my daughter, we moved here from Hill Country, Texas. I've been all over the United States, North Carolina, Florida, Washington State, Texas. My experience is what I would like to bring to the mayorship of Stewart County. Thank you.
My name is David Ross. I'm a native, graduate of Stewart County High School. I spent the first part of my career as a investigative reporter asking questions. I'm a public school teacher. I spend this time answering questions. I've held public officials accountable all of my career, and I have advanced degrees to include grant writing. Stewart County is one of the most geographically and historically significant counties in this region. And we need to have our seat at the table whenever anything is impacting Stewart County, to include TVA Cumberland. We are Fort Campbell West. We've got Fort Donaldson. We've got 45% of our land mass is impacted. We can get more from the feds than we have been getting and take the burden off the taxpayers. Thank you.
We're going to check the microphone real quick just to make sure that it's fully operational.
Gentlemen, make sure that you flip it up where it doesn't see where you see it.
And also, please make sure that you speak into it like this. We want to be able to hear you, and those in the back probably cannot hear you. So please make liberal use of the microphone. Can I say liberal in the Republican Party? Maybe. I'm sorry.
Straight down.
No, we're going to do the. You're next. We're going to do the sheriff's.
Have a question?
Yes.
Okay. Somewhat confused on the format. So. I'm not the only one.
Mr. Carter. It is.
Mr. Hartigan.
Stewart County residents have expressed concerns. You'll have 2 minutes to answer this question. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Stewart County residents have expressed concerns about the possibility of a large-scale artificial intelligence data center in our area. What is your position on data center development, and what specific actions would you take either to support or oppose such projects?
Yes, sir. So I have checked into the data center topic, and I don't think that they're actually as bad as people make them out to be. However, I don't believe it's right for Stewart County. I think that we have a lot more to offer as far as natural resources and tourism opportunities, instead of trying to just sell off a parcel of property to put up another data center on there. I'd like to see the county moving in a different direction and maintaining that rural charm, and part of the rural landscape is absolutely a part of that. I just don't think that a data center is right for Stewart County. As far as direct measures, well, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure what legal measures that a mayor could take directly with it. Staying engaged with the community, obviously it would be a private land sale, so making sure that people have the opportunity to keep their land or do something different with it is part of the economic environment you'd like to cultivate where that's possible. But liaising with the state, with these private companies, to just say we would not prefer it to be in Stewart County. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now pass the microphone to Mr. Ross. Mr. Ross, you'll have 2 minutes.
Chad, on the topic of data centers, right now I am a school teacher in the Clarksville school system. I work at the virtual school, and I have students show me in real time. I get to watch, all my students are online. I can see their computers. I see them using AI right now, and initially I was very reluctant on this technology, on this emerging technology, and as I'm seeing it now, it's amazing. It's another leap forward. To be able to say what is going to happen in the future, we're going to be having AI. Now, how we deal with it here in Stewart County, I specifically have not heard any specific plans for any sort of data center. However, if there is such a proposal, it would not be surprising to me that Fort Campbell probably is already on the cutting edge of that right now. And so if we could do a better job of partnering with Fort Campbell and find out just what sort of emerging technology they are having, perhaps there is a place for it. If there's not here, if they're doing it, I guarantee you Clarksville, Montgomery County is doing it. And whatever Clarksville is doing is going to impact us. To be able to say that a county mayor can help or stop such a project, that would be more in line with how the county commission would approach something, and then be able to lobby your lawmakers at all levels, to include the feds and the state, and to find out. That's, again, on the growth plan. Do we need a data center? We need information to make informed decisions.
Give Mr. Vance a chance to reset the clock. I think I've been rushing him just a little bit. So. All right, we're good. Mr. Beecham, you have 2 minutes.
So over the last 4 years in Stewart County, we've had one data center come and approach us as a county and ask about if we were interested in them coming here. I want to give you a quick rundown on some history that I've done over the last few months. There are currently 61 data centers in the state of Tennessee. Rural counties hold 20% of those data centers, and that's for a reason. That was for a reason before April of this year, when Senate Bill 2128 passed. And what that said was, now data centers have the ability to manage their own electricity, their own water, and they can do it self-sufficient. And they took the ball out of TVA's hands. Before April of this year, before Senate Bill 2128, TVA had a 3-year waiting list on data centers. That gave us 3 years to plan. They took that away. Benton County is facing a data center right now. I talked to Mark Ward in the last couple of weeks. they are facing one. I want to tell you that 28 facilities that are in Nashville, 13 facilities are in Memphis, 10 facilities are in Knoxville, and Clarksville has one facility right now, and that is a major facility that is 1.5 million square feet data center that they put at the old Hancock place. So, but anyways, what I want to say about that is the greatest thing about Stewart County and data centers is this: we are physically responsible. We are in better shape right now today monetarily than the history of this county, and we do not have to be beholden to anyone because of their tax dollar, and that is all data centers bring here. Data center brings dollars, and the rest of it they don't bring. It's short-term jobs, it's short-term buying, and we don't need them here as of right now. Later on down the road we might, but right now we're physically responsible. We have plenty of your tax dollars stored up, and we don't need them.
Reminding you to keep in the order, Mr. Beecham had the opening statement, Mr. Hartigan was first to answer the first question, and so now, Mr. Ross, you will have 2 minutes to answer the following question. What do you believe is the county's most significant financial challenge, and what specific steps would you take over the next 4 years to maintain fiscal responsibility and reduce long-term debt?
With all due respect, we're spending out of our fund balance, and the school system is spending out of its fund balance. So we can look at it in different ways. I would say that we're one major catastrophe away from probably a 15-cent tax hike, like the $5 million chillers that went out because of poor planning at the high school. But what I would do, once again, if you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail. We have a growth plan that was adopted and created last century. We are dealing with 21st century challenges and issues with a plan that was out of date in the year 2000, and reading it is laughable at the license to steal right now. So we need to have a plan. We need to go to every community in Stewart County, be able to give people the opportunity in writing, verbally, say what they want, what they need, see where we need to go, and then get our roadmap to where we're going. We can encourage businesses to come in and build what we would like to see in Stewart County. And we have an industry that is unique to this county that Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Franklin, even Nashville would love to have. Our history, our recreation, our tourism potential, we're not even beginning to get the resource, the revenue off of that particular industry that even we once did. Of course, our anchor, the Fort Campbell or the Fort Donaldson Visitor Center, we've got to make sure that that contract is not defaulted again, because that is the anchor of this industry that is the most clean, pure industry that we have in Stewart County.
Mr. Beecham, would you like me to repeat the question?
Go ahead.
What do you believe is the county's most significant financial challenge, and what specific steps would you take over the next 4 years to maintain fiscal responsibility and reduce long-term debt?
We have several challenges facing us, and I'll go over a few of those with you. Roads and infrastructure is a major challenge for Stewart County, and that goes from the top to the bottom. We have several roads that are county-maintained roads that you can't get down right now. That is no fault of our road department. That is a lack of funding, and our Stewart County legislative body has put their money where their mouth is, to say, because over the last year they have given $580,000 over and above the operating budget, over and above the asking operating budget, to the road department, and that is main. And right now, we have folks that are coming in and saying, we want to make our road a county road department, county road. And we don't have the ability to do that. Number one, because financially, we can't take on that burden for one or two houses. Number two, the road department is stretched thin. And we are noticing that. The county legislative body is realizing that. And we are working on roads. Again, I'll say that they put their money where their mouth is with that. There's some other things that are infrastructure-wise. Guys, we have families that are lifelong families of Stewart County that dug wells 30 years ago. They're hauling water today to survive. That's an issue. You know, a lot of people are so concentrated on these plans that are 20 years out of date. I have the email from the state that says, please do not update that plan. No counties in the state are doing that because it's out of date. It's not expired, but it's out of date. And that 20-year growth plan was for mainly the city of Dover that says you can't grow any further. I have that growth plan. You're more than welcome to look at it or get a copy of that. But the infrastructure right now, running sewer up the highway, a lot of people won't. But until folks that are lifelong citizens of Stewart County have water that they need to survive on, I'm really not cared about whether the developer gets sewer or not.
Mr. Hartigan, I have repeated the question for all candidates. I'll do the same for you. What do you believe is the county's most significant financial challenge, and what specific steps would you take over the next 4 years to maintain fiscal responsibility and reduce long-term debt?
So, I don't think it's any small secret that I have been on Facebook with videos with lots of economic-based suggestions, including tourism and a mid to upper mid-tier hotel in town. As I tell everyone on an individual basis and at group events, forever and always it is about money. How are we going to get the money that we need to run Stewart County? Irrespective of what issue may be pressing at the moment, whether it's roads, law enforcement, emergency services, the most pressing fiscal issue is going to be, where does the money come from? Is it from property taxes and wheel taxes on license plate renewals? Right now it is. That is a huge piece of what we need in order to run the county. Now, what I would like to see is a county that doesn't rely on a wheel tax. And if we didn't need it right now, then why do we have it? So most certainly that would illustrate that we do need it. What I would like to do is chart a path forward. I can do it. And figure out how we can identify an economic future and identity for Stewart County that isn't 100% reliant on property taxes and license plate renewals, because there are counties in Tennessee where that is the state of play. There are also counties in Tennessee where that is not the state of play. Even though we're Stewart County and we are unique in our own wonderful and numerous ways, we are not uncoupled from the rest of the state of Tennessee and how it works. So we can look across our neighbor's fence and see what they're doing and whether that's going well for them or not well for them. Being from family in Morgan County and graduating high school in Sevier County, I've seen firsthand how the transformational wealth of tourism can work in your community. I was a law enforcement officer in Sevierville, Tennessee for 8 years and watched exponential growth during that time. I think right now what we need to do is decide what we want Stewart County to look like moving forward, and where does that money come from. Thank you.
For our third question, we'll begin with Mr. Beecham. Again, candidates, I'll read the question again to all three of you. Mr. Beecham, our question: Stewart County currently operates without county-wide zoning regulations. As our county grows, what specific strategies would you pursue to encourage responsible economic development while protecting property rights, preserving our rural character, and avoiding unnecessary tax increases?
Zoning for me is easy because I see both sides of the coin. One side of the coin is my personal opinion that I don't want you coming on my property telling me what to do with my house with my money that I bought. That's first and foremost. The second side of that is we don't have the right as citizens to tell our neighbors that. I can tell you, and I pledge to you today and tomorrow and the next day, If zoning is passed in this county during my leadership, it will be by your vote. It will not be by mine. It will not be by the county commission. It will be by a referendum, and that's the way it needs to be. You need to decide if you want zoning or if you do not want zoning. That is a county-wide critical topic. Do you want folks coming on your property telling you don't need a red roof? Or do you want to tell your neighbor they can't have a pig farm? It's completely up to you. And that's something in the next 20 years that you will decide, whether I'm here or whether whoever's here. You will decide that, and hopefully whoever's in the leadership role gives you that choice, because that's your choice. It's you or the taxpayers. You should decide that. Not me, not our county legislative body. There's 14 of them. They represent you, and I appreciate them. But they should not make that decision for you, and I hope that you hold whoever's in charge accountable for that when that happens. The second thing, our county is in dire need of industrial zoning. Industrial zoning by meaning when an industry comes in here and they do not want to go to Cumberland City, we need to have a place as a county to put them. I have been told all too often, you haven't brought jobs in here. The fact of the matter is, we have a $27 million project starting in the Stewart Houston Industrial Park in just 2 weeks. And that's going to bring 105 new jobs. Those aren't made up jobs, those are new jobs. But not everybody wants to go to the Stewart Houston Industrial Park. We need a place to issue these people and put them in and bring them here so our citizens do not have to drive out of county in 30 and 40 miles to make a living wage. And that's the way I feel about zoning. It's not going to change. I hope you hold whoever's above accountable.
Everybody, you got 3 minutes for that question. You give him another minute? You need more time?
Oh, I can take one.
Reset the clock here.
Just go again to the
And to go above and beyond at zoning and things of that nature, we go back to talking about sewer. These businesses that will come into this industrial zone area, they will pay for that. We don't have to worry about that. So when I say I'm not looking for sewer and things to go up 79 to bring in development, those guys will do that. I can't speak for the city of Dover or Cumberland City, but I can speak for Stewart County and say that it will be paid for when we have an industrial zoned area. I do not want to sell off our agricultural property, nor do we need to. We need to be helping these farmers keep their property instead of selling off and even enticing them to sell to these developers. And that's the way I feel.
Once again, 3 minutes for this question. My apologies to Mr. Beecham. Mr. Hartigan, Stewart County currently operates without county-wide zoning regulations. As our county grows, what specific strategies would you pursue to encourage responsible economic development while protecting property rights, preserving our rural character, and avoiding unnecessary tax increases? 3 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir. So zoning, what an issue that is here lately, both for the county and currently within the city. Being a strict constitutionalist, private property ownership, private property rights are very important to me philosophically. My libertarian friend is here tonight in attendance. The one thing that I am always really restrained about is using government force to modify people's individual behavior. For me, that is just an option of the last resort. So with that being said, 4 years in Hill Country, Texas, I have seen $1 million mansions and barndos right next to a fifth wheel pulled up under a lean-to to keep a little more sun off of it, right next door to each other. It is something I agree with the mayor on, that it would be left up to the voter, but my reservation becomes now it's back in the hands of the government for the final execution. And I don't think anyone in this room is unaware of what's going on with the zoning for R3 on Sandy Road, but I don't know that I exactly trust government execution of zoning. So be careful what you ask for.
Mr. Ross, I'll repeat the question once again, 3 minutes. Stewart County currently operates without countywide zoning regulations. as our county grows, what specific strategies would you pursue to encourage responsible economic development while protecting property rights, preserving our rural character, and avoiding unnecessary tax increases?
Zoning isn't going to do what people think it would do. First of all, if we had zoning, which I don't see it happening, everybody would be grandfathered in. So that would take that, and you would have existing land use until a property changed hands. So I don't see the zoning issue as an immediate concern as much as I see this is a real concern. When you live in a county that is adjacent to a county and city that has a population of over 150,000 as we do, that city and county can annex into Stewart County. Clarksville could annex part of Stewart County without asking, without being able to do it. You see the subdivisions growing in this direction. That is a concern to me. On another note, the concern of having a state official say that this plan does not need to be updated is ludicrous. I would love to know the name of that state official who said that and take them to task, because it says in here plainly, this isn't just for the city of Dover, it's for the entire county. It talks about schools, it talks about emergency services, it talks about land use, it talks about zoning, and it talks about industrial development. It talks about all the topics that we're talking about. This is supposed to be a living document that is updated, and that is what guides us, and that's what will guide us. And if we have officials at the state telling local officials they don't need to update the growth plan, then I have just identified one of our major problems right there. We have got to, at the local level, start telling the state and the feds what we need, because we are the bosses, and you should be listening to us instead of dictating to us from on high how we should operate and pay for the facilities and the infrastructure that you have put upon us. Now, how much time have we got? On the zoning issue, it's touchy. If you want zoning, you should move to Dover. Yes, there are codes. In the county of Stewart County, I would personally lobby against zoning in this county because it's not going to do what people would think that it would do. It would run out the people who live here because they want to be here, and then you would have the developers carving us up as they're doing now.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We'll be moving on to our fourth question. Before we do, I would like to politely remind our audience not to verbalize during the presentation of a candidate. We don't want to distract the candidate from their thoughts, and so please be aware of that. Hold any comments until they end, preferably just applause. Our fourth question, gentlemen, you'll have 2 minutes to answer this question. And Mr. Beecham began last time, and so we will begin with Mr. Hartigan. The question is, if a major development project is proposed in Stewart County, how would you ensure the decision-making process is transparent and that citizens have meaningful opportunities for input before final decisions are made? 2 minutes, sir.
So if you have followed my Facebook video series, you will know what I have branded my campaign as the No Secrets campaign. That information is your information. Stewart County nor Dover handle anything classified that can't be shared with the public. That is all your business. I have proposed on one of my videos that I would do a weekly video installment to Facebook. I know it's not a perfect solution. I know not everybody's on Facebook, but at least it's something. Anyone who has business before the mayor's office is business you should know about. That's not something that needs to be handled in secret or kept away from the general public. Knowledge is power. The second thing that I have encouraged people to do in person as well as via video is engage with your county commissioner. Information is the coin of the realm. If you have the information with enough lead time, you need to be on the phone to your county commissioner, get them on the phone, and make them spend a few quality minutes with you. I find it egregious that at these county commission meetings, you're allowed to make statements but not ask questions. There's yet to be a public venue where you can get your county commissioners to make a public statement so that they will have to vote in line with what they have stated. So with that being said, I don't know that I can change that, but I can make a monthly appearance in person and rotate through the districts to let people see me in person and put me on the record in front of groups. Give you that information via a weekly video call from the mayor's desk. Let you know what that is and ahead of the vote so that you can be in contact with those county commissioners and actually steer the vote, not just find out in the paper 2 days later what's already happened. Thank you.
Mr. Ross, I'll repeat the question for you, sir. If a major development project is proposed in Stewart County, how would you ensure the decision-making process is transparent and that citizens have meaningful opportunities for input before final decisions are made? You have 2 minutes, sir.
I am not that big a fan of the committee structure that we have for county business discussions. Back a few decades ago, we had informal work sessions, and it was all hashed out in public. You didn't have it coming through a committee with a recommendation of approval or disapproval, and that would be where the discussions were with just a few county commissioners. You had all the county commissioners all together asking questions, and it was transparent, and it was out in the open. And was it ugly at sometimes? Yes, it was. But the debate was there, the discussions were there. I see the reasons for the committee structure, but it's way, way too powerful. It needs to be, the public business needs to be discussed in public. It needs to be questioned in public. It needs to be decided in public. Back to the growth plan. How would I do that? You would get input from all of the communities. You would find out about that specific development, and you would encourage whoever is coming in to fit it in as best as possible into the growth plan that has been developed with input from every community and every citizen of Stewart County. Is that possible? We can have input from everyone, and if there is a major development, it does need to be discussed publicly. It does not need to be just a handful of people. And yes, it is private enterprise, but there does need to be public discussion because there are impacts on schools, roads, emergency services. We are about to see that with some. And I'm glad to see that we're having some jobs coming to the industrial park. But as you say, not everybody lives in that part of the county.
Mr. Beecham, I'll repeat the question, sir. If a major development project is proposed in Stewart County, how would you ensure the decision-making process is transparent and that citizens have meaningful opportunities for input before final decisions are made? You have 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you. In the history of Stewart County government, there's never been a more transparent government. And I will prove that if you will just look above you. There is cameras all around this room right now. There wasn't 4 years ago. We put those in here for you. We put those in here so you can sit in the comfort of your home and watch the business transactions that are taken forth by your legislative body. So tell me, how do we get more transparent than that? There's one more step. I visit every district in this county every week. Every week. There's not a week goes by unless I'm out at the state or something like that I don't. So I don't need you to necessarily come to committee meetings because I come to your doorstep. This is the most transparent government ever. So if you don't like something that's going on, if I want to know your opinion on something, I'll be at your doorstep or you can come. Hey, all of these meetings are taped. They're filmed. Most of the committee meetings are, and if they're not filmed, they're open to the public. Now, one thing that really kind of gets me going about this election is this. I don't mind opponents. That's a great thing. But why do I have opponents 4 weeks and 5 weeks before the election, and you don't show up to a commission meeting in 3 years, and all of a sudden you know what's best for our county? You don't watch it even at home, and all of a sudden you know what's best for our county. But yet you can come in here and say this, this, and this. That's not a fact. That's not true. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is when you see my little electric vehicle, because I can't afford the expedition gas money, riding around these 7 districts talking to you. The proof is in the pudding when you can flip on Facebook and watch the county commission meeting in live action. That's the proof in the pudding.
Mayoral candidates, we're going to ask that you remain seated. We do have one question that we will ask all of our candidates in a little while, but right now we will move on to our candidates for sheriff. Yes, please. In beginning with our sheriff candidate forum, once again we will go in order as they are seated, and so we will begin with Mr. Jody Batton. You have 1 minute for an opening statement, sir.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It's great seeing so many people here because there's a whole lot of y'all. My name is Jody Batton. I'm a longtime resident of Stewart County. I say long time because I was born here, raised up here about 4th grade. My dad worked with Corps of Engineers, so he was on the waterway, so we moved a whole lot. I moved in a whole bunch of states in my lifetime, but Stewart County has always been my home. Last place we ended up was Indiana. That's where I met my, I call her my swipster, my school sweetheart. She was still in school. I just graduated. We've been married for 24 years, have a son. He's currently going to college to do race cars. That's what he's doing. My roots run deep in Stewart County. If I did my math right, I'm a sixth generation Stewart County. I've been serving for the last 19 years. My whole career of law enforcement's been in Stewart County.
And now our incumbent Sheriff Gray, you have 1 minute for your opening statement, sir.
My name is Frankie Gray. I'm the sheriff seeking my 3rd term. I was born and raised here in Stewart County and graduated of Stewart County High School. After graduation, I attended Austin Peay State University and later on Hopkinsville Community College, where I finished up a degree in criminal justice. I've got a degree in agriculture, in biology, history, and political science. So I spent a lot of time in school. But after college, I came to work here for Sheriff's Department about 1.5 years. Went to Clarksville. Worked there 34 years. I left there when I was assistant chief over patrol when I was elected here. Had 2 wonderful children, Morgan and Jim, and 5 grandchildren. And one thing I think I've produced on what my promises were, and I made promises and I've kept my promises to this county.
We'll begin our questions, gentlemen. The question will be first addressed to Sheriff Gray, as Mr. Batton began with their opening statements. You will have 2 minutes to answer this question. The question is this: what do you believe are the greatest equipment, technology, or staffing needs facing the Stewart County Sheriff's Department, and how would you address them?
Well, there's 2 or 3, I think, is what the biggest challenges that we're going to face in the next 4 years, 8 years. Number one of them is going to be retention officer retentions. It's hard for us to keep up with the state, what the state pays. It's hard to keep up with what the federal government pays. And I lose employees going, and I don't blame them for going. We're also going to be looking at, I think one of the big problems is going to be is technological advancement and how we're going to pay for that. IT, storage, how we're going to pay for that. I think the biggest challenge that we're going to have is the growth in this county. We had in 24, I think there was 198 new addresses. 25, there was 200 new addresses, and I think since January the first year, I think that we had 106 and 10 new roads. How are we going to staff these, my people to keep this? How are we going to meet the needs of this county? How am I going to protect the county? That's going to be our biggest challenge. Okay? And I'm going to try to stay within my budget. I've stayed within my budget since we've been here. I've not went over, regardless of what you see or hear, I've not went over any of my budgets. We stay within our budget, and we're going to do that. But we need to seek out grants. We're going to have to. And Stewart County obviously cannot afford some of the things that we need. When I make a budget, I say this: I don't ask for everything that we need. I ask for what I think the county can afford to give me. And we need to keep pay raises up. We need to cut the cost of living because we need to retain these officers.
Mr. Batton, I'll repeat the question for you, sir. You'll have 2 minutes to answer. What do you believe are the greatest equipment, technology, and staffing needs facing the Stewart County Sheriff's Department, and how would you address them?
Staffing issues have always been an issue at Stewart County. It's been said for years. Stewart County has always been kind of a training ground, and people go other places just because you could go either way and make $5 or $6 more an hour. I've been asked for years why I didn't go anywhere else. Well, this is home. You could go either way and make more money. Staffing's a huge issue. One thing I'd like to address is also the pay in the corrections. When I left corrections, I've been out of corrections for 18 years. There's only $3 or $4 difference what I was making then and what they're making now. We really need to address our corrections. That's our biggest turnover. Which officer turnover is bad too. Because the bad thing about it nowadays, there's not a lot of people wanting to come into law enforcement. We had opening it over not too long ago, and it took a month and a half to find somebody. So we need to, me personally, I would like to work with the commission, try to figure out where we can get more money, where we can cut areas, just to get people to stay here. One of the biggest things is people need to stay here. The turnover, it is high. In the last, I'm saying the last 8 years, I did my math, there's been like 23 officers leave. A lot of them did go to other departments to make more money. That's the biggest issue. And benefits, I'll be honest, benefits is a big issue. Working at Stewart County for so long, the benefits are high. When I went to Dover, my benefits got cut in half. I had the same exact benefits. So if we could work with, insurance company, try to get some of this down, so let's put money back in these officers' pockets, so that way they can afford to stay. And that's it.
We began with Mr. Gray on the first question. The second question will begin with Mr. Batton. Mr. Batton, you'll have 2.5 minutes to answer this question. The question is this: what training standards will you require to ensure professionalism, accountability, and public trust? And what is your plan for recruiting and retaining qualified deputies? 2.5 minutes, sir.
Training is essential in law enforcement. One thing I will say, every year post requires us to have required 40 hours a year. Ever since I started, I've always tried to exceed that. Total in the last going on 19 years, I got 2,300 training hours. You cannot make anybody do more training hours, but I would encourage everybody to take advantage of it. Everybody, all lately we use the Academy. It's an online training. They have a slew of courses on there. I would encourage my guys to go the extra step, take these extra courses. There's courses on there for dispatch. Are any of my dispatcher? No, but I like to take them courses, just know what they're dealing with and have a little bit of background to it. There's correction officer courses on there. I would encourage everybody to take advantage of what the county's paying for, because these courses, they're paid through the budget. Like I said, the biggest thing is retention. We gotta get where people are wanting to stay here and not go other places. I would just really encourage everybody to take advantage of all the training they can. Continue to send these guys to training, specialized training. There's guys that like working dope and get them to these dope classes. There's guys that they want to work canines. Let them work canines. Anything they want to specialize in, because in law enforcement there's so much different stuff you can work on.
Mr. Gray, I'll repeat the question. 2.5 minutes to answer, sir. What training standards will you require to ensure professionalism, accountability, and public trust? And what is your plan for recruiting and retaining qualified deputies?
Well, I'll keep the same standards. Obviously, the post commission sets standards for us, and that's the minimum standards. But I also, we also provide a bunch of training. We pick up the free training that's provided by the state and by the Sheriff's Association. Let me tell you, he mentioned V Academy. V Academy sucks. And I'll be honest with you, it sucks because officers get nothing out of that. And that's the reason I despise V Academy. We use it some to get our 40 hours in service, but we try our best to get every officer specialized training, and we do. And when I came here, I said one thing I was going to do was get officers trained. Got every one of those officers trained in drug and addiction. And then among other things that we've been training, but we do that every year. We get them trained. As far as officer retention, obviously it's paid, but it's more than paid. We provide a good working environment, and officers like that. They know that your sheriff and chief deputy has got their back. We know what we'll do, and they know as long as they do what they're supposed to do, and they will have our support. They also know that we won't tolerate it if they deviate from what our policy says. Now, keeping people paid, that's a good idea, but it's just not paid. You got to motivate officers to stay, and good young officers, and they do leave, unfortunately, but the ones that really want to stay and attach to this community, they keep training and working their way up the ladder. We have corporals and we have sergeants' positions that are opening, but we have provided another thing is equipment. Officers will tell you when I came here as sheriff, equipment was non-existent, and this is true. We didn't even have ticket books. When I came into office, they didn't even have ticket books. Now we're highly trained. We're also got everything from body cameras, spike strips, tasers, weapons, night lights on the guns, you name it. We got it. We got a K9 program. So we provided these things to these officers. And when you provide a good working environment, you will have officers stay. And that's what we're doing. Now we lose people, but a lot of officers are staying because we have a good working environment.
We began with Mr. Batton on the last question. Our third question will begin with Mr. Gray. The question is this, and you'll have 2 minutes to answer, sir. 2 minutes. Do you support the use of flock safety cameras or similar technology in Stewart County? Please explain your position and how would you balance public safety with privacy concerns?
Absolutely, 100% do I support flock cameras. I know a lot of people out there are misinformed about it, but yes, it's a great tool. It doesn't take the place of good law enforcement, but it provides us with more information. A lot of misinformation out there about flock cameras is that we sell information, we keep all this information, you go through that and we're watching you. That's not true. We've had solved several crimes already with using flock cameras, but we do not sell that information. That information is kept for like 30 days, and we can go back and look at that, but we don't see who goes through there and pick out a car and see how many times they go through there. If we are looking for a vehicle, we can enter that description and that tag number into that vehicle, into that computer, and it will pull up that vehicle if it's entered our system. Not only that, we can enter that information into the system, and if it goes through Memphis, Tennessee, and it's a bank robbery, and it goes through Memphis, Tennessee, it will hit on that vehicle. And Memphis will know it. Same thing here. If someone robs a bank or kills someone in Nashville and they come through our county, it will hit on that. And it will tell us where that vehicle came through the county at, and we'll know that vehicle is in the county. So absolutely, I do support it. And the fact that people think that it's violating their rights, it's not true. And privacy, you have worse privacy problems on doorbell cameras, ring cameras, than you do with flock cameras.
Mr. Batton, I'll repeat the question. You'll have 2 minutes to answer. Do you support the use of flock safety cameras or similar technology in Stewart County? Please explain your position and how you would balance public safety with privacy concerns.
Yes, I do. And I'll echo a lot what he said. These cameras, they're a great tool because it's just not used. It's just not used for Stewart County. It's just not for Stewart County's information. It's nationwide. So if something does happen in Nashville, Memphis, they're getting these alerts. So yes, I do agree with using them. But also we need to look at the public safety. Yes, people do think it's infringement of their rights. But also, every time they drive down the road, your tags are being seen by everybody. At the end of the day, they are. Speed cameras, everything. People's going to see your tags. One thing I would like to do is, I know the sheriff's office has it, Cumberland City has it. I would like to get Dover implemented, try to get something worked out with them. I know currently Cumberland City pays for one of the cameras. I know Chief Bickford had went over there and asked to get on it, and they asked to pay for, if we would pay for one of the cameras. And I'll be honest, if it was in city limits, it would be great, but the town of Dover is not going to pay for something outside city limits. Maybe if we could either get a second one put up at the stoplight, because at the end of the day, everybody comes through Dover. So work on something like that. I will say, like I said, it was offered to pay for one. And my issue with that is, yes, it's good to have other departments pay for it, but in the last couple of years, the town of Dover, whenever they got their first K-9, they paid half for that K-9. We gave them equipment for whenever they was putting computers in their car. We had extra computer mounts. And then most recently, we actually donated a K-9 kennel that was almost $6,000 to them. So at least for a year or two, let us have access to it.
Gentlemen, this next question will be our fourth and final Sheriff Office specific question. We'll begin with Mr. Batton. You'll have 2 minutes to answer this question, sir. The question is this. Based on recent evidence presented in court, 50% of Stewart County high school students are using marijuana, and 75% of students are using alcohol. What do you propose to combat this illegal activity? 2 minutes, sir.
Well, we need to educate our kids. I know everybody thinks marijuana because it's legal in like 40-something states now, either it's recreational or medicinal. I think Tennessee's going to be one of the last ones since we're kind of the bottom belt of the country. We need to educate our kids, get them in there, and also start running these dogs through the parking lots, get them in the schools, work with Melissa Fields. I know she does a substance abuse coalition. Biggest thing is education. We need to get in there and educate these kids. And then honestly, if they get caught with something, we don't just need to smack their hands and let them go. Because it's been shown, if you smack their hands, let them go, they need to be held responsible for the actions they make. So we need to work with the juvenile office, work with the coalition, and get some education there. Start some programs in there. Have officers go to the school, show them what we're dealing with, what it could lead to, what marijuana abuse could lead to, what could, alcohol lead to in the future. We need to, education's big for me. Another thing is, get these dogs in the school, and, let them run their duties.
Sheriff Farrell, I'll repeat the question. You'll have 2 minutes to answer. Based on recent evidence presented in court, 50% of Stewart County High School students are using marijuana and 75% of students are using alcohol. What do you propose to combat this illegal activity?
Well, obviously education is a big part of it, and I think we need to continue to try the education school. And I know, like my opponent said, Ms. Fields does provide a lot for that. Also, as far as the alcohol part, we do routine checks. A lot of people don't know that. I get with most Fields, and we will do checks to make sure that we'll send some people in and make sure they ask for ID and people that you're not selling to alcohol to people that are underage, or they don't ask for ID. And we have caught people. We've already charged several of the markets for doing that, and they know that. So if they're getting alcohol a lot, people are buying it for them and giving it to them. On marijuana, I'll be honest with you, and they ask me, I'm totally against it, and I know some of you out there are for it, and I'm not going to battle that battle. If you're for it, you're for it. If you're against it, you're against it. I can't persuade you, and you're not going to persuade me. But I tell you this, I talk to inmates, and when they come in there, and I don't talk to every one of them. The ones we bust for drugs, I ask them. I said, hey, let me ask you about this. When you started drugs, what happened? Over 50% of them tell me, I started out smoking marijuana. And I tell you this, everybody said, well, why are you against it? Why are you against it? Medical, if you can show me that it will work and show me how you can avoid getting false prescriptions, and you can get those off the internet. You can get prescriptions off the internet. You can show me that, I'll be for medical marijuana. But as far as recreational use, I'm totally against it, and I will be. That's the reason I train their dogs for marijuana. So let me tell you this. Here's the reasons. I don't want my grandchildren, and I won't want the children of this county smoking dope. And I'm against it.
We'd like to thank all of our candidates. At this point, we have a question for all of our candidates. It's a little bit broader in nature and not necessarily office specific. With this question, we have made a random drawing, and Ms. Wallace has drew a name. The first person that will answer this question is Mayor Beecham. Mayor Beecham, you'll have 2 minutes to answer this question. The question is this, sir. Many residents value God, faith, prayer, and strong moral leadership. What personal principles or values guide your decision-making as a public servant and how will those principles influence your service to the people of Stewart County? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Ben. Tough question. No, it's not a tough question. Let me just go off the cuff here. I'm a God-fearing Christian. I enjoy my relationship with the Lord. If you are not one of those, that's your belief, and that is your right. Forever I was taught that church and state should be separated. There's segments in church and state that I can see separated, and there's segments that shouldn't be separated. If you have good moral Christian values and you stick with those values, you're going to be a good leader. If you show compassion, if you show humility, if you show all of those traits, you are going to be a good leader, and they cross paths. What you believe is what you believe. I'm not a minister by no means. I fall daily. I said this in a meeting a couple of weeks ago with these gentlemen. When I talk to the state, I fall twice daily and twice as hard. So I definitely need the good Lord. I'm not telling you you need Jesus. I'm telling you I do. So what your belief is your belief, and I'm not going to get into that. I'll say that for the good Lord and the preachers and on Sunday mornings. But what I can tell you is this. Joshua said it best. For me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Our next random drawing is Sheriff Gray. Once you have the microphone, I'll repeat the question. You'll have 2 minutes to answer this, sir. The question again. Many residents value God, faith, prayer, and strong moral leadership. What personal principles or values guide your decision-making as a public servant, and how will those principles influence your service to the people of Stewart County? 2 minutes, sir.
Well, I am a member of Rose Valley Community Church. Go there. My 2 children and their grandchildren, they all go to church. Obviously, I believe in God. I'm a little bit different from the mayor there a little bit, but I'll tell people, you need God. If you don't have God in your life, you need God in your life. And I pray for people every day who needs praying because they're straight. And if you're not driving a God car, you're going down the road blind. I'll just be honest with you. But with that being said, good morals, that comes from your belief in God. And I think that, and you believe you know what's right. And I tell my guys, you know what's right and you know what's wrong. And I tell them, I feel good because I think that I'm a sinner, I know, okay, and nobody's perfect, but I work on it, and you got to work on it. And I encourage everyone, and I encourage my inmates when they get out, and I tell them, when we have a great life skills class, and when the inmates get out, and I go to the graduation, I tell them, I say, if you don't have a church or a place where you can get spiritual guidance, you need to find one, because it is so important that you get that support, and I encourage that. But yes, I think there's only way that you can't preach good morals if you don't have God by your side, and that's just the way I believe. That's the way I always believe.
Our next name selected is Mr. Hartigan. Mr. Hartigan, you'll have 2 minutes to answer this question. I'll repeat it. Many residents value God, faith, prayer, and strong moral leadership. What personal principles or values guide your decision-making as a public servant? And how will those principles influence your service to the people of Stewart County? You have 2 minutes, sir.
So, it is a rich part of the culture here in Stewart County. We have a lot of church-going folks and many churches to choose from. And how much better is Stewart County than a lot of places in the United States that don't observe church services? It's the fabric of the community. It is an absolute good thing. You don't have to participate if you don't want to. If you want to live here and be a good citizen and participate in the moral compact that you won't steal from your neighbor and they from you, it's a magnificent thing. For me, I'm not perfect. Don't claim to be. But I do the best that I can. I believe in what's in the Bible, those lessons set out for us to learn by. What good am I to my daughter if I can't live out those values and principles and teach them to her? How can I demand accountability from her if I don't show it myself? So these are the things that guide me. Even while I was listening to the other guys, I debated about sharing with you, I don't know, a year and a half ago or more, way before I was running for mayor, my business account is at F&M. I go down here by the bridge. I don't pay attention to it until the statement at the end of the month, and I open my business statement, and I said, that number does not look right. That is a bit bigger than it should be. Look for the deposits. It came from someone who's not a client of mine. I'm a one-man show. I know everything in, everything out. All debits and credits go through me. Went down there and I showed it to them, and they said, well, unfortunately, this happens from time to time. And I said, well, that's not okay. They said, well, most people just go on. And I said, I'm not going to go on. How do we resolve it? And we worked together and we got that money back. You never know what it means to somebody on the other end. And that's what I will bring to you as mayor. Thank you.
Our next candidate addressing this question will be Mr. Batton. Mr. Batton, you will have 2 minutes to answer the question, and I'll repeat the question for you. Many residents value God, faith, prayer, and strong moral leadership. What personal principles or values guide your decision-making as a public servant? And how will those principles influence your service to the people of Stewart County? Again, you'll have 2 minutes.
I hold all that dear to me. In law enforcement, we make split-second decisions. Anytime I make a decision, it's split-second. We deal with it, but afterwards, I always pray on it to say, did I do the best I could? Is it for that person? Is it for the community? Is it for myself? Anytime I do make any decisions, I pray on it first. I'll be honest, when I decided to run for this office, I prayed on it a lot. I know it's a lot. And I'll tell you right now, I was saved a lot later in life. I always went to church. I grew up in the Church of Christ. I always went there until one night there was an officer called in about a drunk driver where it had actually almost hit him and his family. On the way out there, I met the individual. He had already ran one officer off the road, and he clipped the side of my car and hit my side mirror. At that moment, I was like, I need to get myself right. So I literally, after it got done, I messaged my preacher that night, and I was like, it's time. I need to get right. And I value everything with morals on that. This year, I've had 2 prior people that I've dealt with numerously message me, and one of them was just 2 weeks ago. He was busted on drugs numerous times. He messaged me. It was like, hey, I thank you for always being, he said, he goes, you did your job. He goes, but you didn't really treat me no different. And that's the thing. You should not treat anybody different just the way their life is right there. He messaged me and said, I've been 5 years clean. He's like, I'm proud of that. He goes, I don't even use nicotine no more. And at the end of it, he said, I found Jesus. So one thing I've always tried to deal when dealing with people, just treat them like you would treat your mom and dad.
Mr. Ross, you'll be our last candidate to answer this question. You'll have 2 minutes to answer, sir. I will repeat the question for you. Many residents value God, faith, prayer, and strong moral leadership. What personal principles or values guide your decision making as a public servant, and how will those principles influence your service to the people of Stewart County? 2 minutes, sir.
I'm a born-again Christian. I talk to Jesus daily. I've been speaking with him since I'm here. I see Jesus in this room. I love this community. I respect the gentleman at this table. When I was 7 years old, I would just talk with Jesus, just talk with him. And I was saved at the age of 7. And I'm a backslider. I didn't always follow. But Jesus was always there for me. I rededicated my life as a Christian at the age of 50. The other night, when Melissa's group was having her nonprofits and all of the services that this community gives, that this county gives, and all of the churches that came together and did what they did and do what they do, it lets you know that this county is a Christian county, and win or lose, I will help whoever wins in any way that I can, and I know that you all will too.
And now, gentlemen, we will move into closing statements. Once again, we will separate these by office. I have looked back to see who was left off, where we left off with the last person. And so, with our closing statements, you will have 2 minutes to make a closing statement. Our county mayor candidates next in the schedule from where we left off with your office-specific questions leads us to Mr. Beecham leading with the closing statements.
I'd like to thank Mr. Chris Hartigan. He has been a wonderful mic carrier tonight. Up and down. You started my time already for that? Come on. Hey, first I'd like to thank everyone who orchestrated and administered this event. I would also like to thank everyone that participated in this. It's not an easy task. Tonight you have heard different perspectives and ideas that are focused around Stewart County. There are several differences in your candidates. One of the biggest things that sets us apart is that you know what you are getting with me. Over the past 4 years, it was an honor to be able to fight for our citizens. Every decision that has been cast from my desk has been made knowing that while we have very successful people here in our county, we have tons of folks that are still struggling daily. With your support, you will get a mayor's office that continues to remain transparent and responsible. You get a mayor that stands on honesty, integrity, and accountability. You get a mayor that knows how to fight for each individual district because he is in and out of those districts literally daily. I'm not an I person because I cannot do anything alone. I want to thank our legislative body for being a great advocate and partner to our county over the last 4 years. We have often had the tough decisions and stern decisions that we've had to make, and they have all been for the betterment of our county. I'm forever grateful to work beside these men and women. From applying and receiving over $7 million in grants to securing a $27 million investment in the industrial park that will produce 100 jobs, our team has stood firm. From the investment in parks to the additional property tax incentives offered to the aging population starting this year, your vote of confidence will ensure that our most vulnerable, our elderly, and our children will continue to be put first. Your voice will also continue to fight for our veterans and our active duty military while paying homage to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Again, I wish to thank you for the opportunity to serve you the last 4 years, the hope in the next 4 years. May God continue to bless you, our county, and our country. Thank you.
Mr. Hartigan, you'll have 2 minutes for your closing comments, sir.
So, as we've covered, and I think is a well-known fact, I'm not from around here. And from East Tennessee, so I do bring a Tennessee value system and a Tennessee way of thinking to the job. I don't see my time bouncing around this country as anything other than a way that has enriched my life for sure. And it's those experiences of local government and regional interactions that have really shaped a lot of my worldview about politics, philosophy, and local government. So I would like to bring that knowledge, that new way of thinking to the job. Anybody who's been anywhere near Facebook in the last couple of months would certainly at least acknowledge that I have a different way of thinking and viewing certain things. If I am your cup of tea as a candidate, that is my intention in this race, just to provide another option, a different way of thinking. I've tried not to have any serious overlap or run to the front of anyone else's parade, just to keep the course and do my own thing and put my information out there. If that seems like something you're interested in, then I'd be happy to have your vote. And if not, that's just fine. I'm a blessed man. I'll go right back to my way of life and enjoy every minute of it. I have been truly honored to be part of this campaign, to meet so many of you on an individual basis and spend extended periods. Some of these things have gone on 2 or 3 hours, and that has been absolutely amazing to meet some of the people of this county. Thank you kindly.
I started off saying that Stewart County is one of the most significant counties geographically, historically, and politically in this region. We deserve our seat at the table when the federal government is making decisions on matters like TVA Cumberland, and not just to tell us what's going to happen. We tell them how it's going to impact us, and we do the same thing with the federal government at all levels and all the holdings that they have, be it Cross Creeks National Wildlife Refuge, Fort Donaldson, the Stewart State Forest by the state folks. When I was a young man and I was city mayor, we proposed to my administration to reach out to Fort Campbell and say, would you be willing to go ahead and give up the right-of-way that would bring Highway 79 to 4 lanes? And we were able to do that with the help of lawmakers in both parties, working together and talking with Fort Campbell, because they saw the need to go ahead. And when that roadway, when that highway was finally left, the contract, the officials stated publicly, this is ahead by several years because the city of Dover was able, with Don Sundquist, a Republican congressman, Jim Sasser, and Al Gore, Democrats, and Governor Lamar Alexander, all working together to make that happen. We need our place at the table. We will come with the information, and that's what's going to get us to the table, is we will have the information that our lawmakers at all levels need. Thank you.
Now for our sheriff's candidates, we will begin closing statements. Looking at where we left off, we will begin with Sheriff Gray. Sir, you'll have 2 minutes.
Folks, I said when I got elected, I said we were going to change some things and we were going to do some things. And I told you when I ran 7 years ago, or what I put it out there, I said we are going to attack the drug problem and we are going to reduce burglaries and we are going to reduce crime in Stewart County. Well, let me tell you, I'm going to read you some numbers, and these are straight from the TBI. And despite what some people on here in Facebook will say, these are not padded numbers. These are TBIs. In the last 7 years compared to the previous 7 years, let me tell you, drug arrests are up 500%, 495.3%. That's 215 in the 7 years before I came in, compared to 1,280 in the last 7 years in Stewart County. Our violent crimes are down 30%. Our burglaries, which I said we were going to reduce, 54%. We're down 54% in this county. Aggravated assaults are down 38%. Domestic violence, 19.5%, and I can go on and on and on. But let me tell you, and I said we, and it's my chief deputy and my lieutenant who sat back there, and the rest of these guys in this department that's done that. I only guide the boat, and they provide the power there. So they're the ones. But let me tell you, we've done it. We stayed within our budget. I don't care what anybody says. Our jail has never, ever failed an inspection. So when people tell you that, they're fabricating, they're twisting the truth. And they know who they are. So I tell you, I promise you, you give me 4 more years and we're going to keep this county safe. And that's my job and that's what I'm going to do. And I look forward to serving you 4 more years.
Mr. Batton, you'll have 2 minutes for your closing remarks, sir.
Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I also want to thank y'all for letting me serve this long in Stewart County. Like I said, my whole career has been here from day one. I want to continue that, and I've talked to people out in the public. I started here, and this is where I'm going to end. I still got another probably 10 years or better to go, so I just want to continue serving. The reason why I decided to run, I want to do better this community and better myself. Some things I'd like to get accomplished is, I know out talking to people in the public, animal control is a huge issue. Some of the numbers I just got yesterday, now the first 2, a lot of them come from traffic stops, but people that called in on DUIs, there was 8 calls of that, and there was 8 calls of drugs. But drugs and DUI, 100% of the time you're getting them off of traffic stops. It's just not people calling in. There was 49 calls of theft. There was 73 calls of domestic. As far as animal calls, 113. And it's just not dog calls. When I talk about animal control, it's everything. Especially working in the county, you get calls on pigs, horses, cows. We got to get something implemented to help out with this county. Animal control is a huge issue. Currently, I'm on the animal control committee. They asked me to be on it last year. It's a great program. We do a pay-by-dog program. We got a great working relationship with the animal or the rescues around here. So that's one of the things I'd really like to get accomplished. Another thing is out talking to the public. I'd like to see the deputies get back out in the public. One of the main concerns I'm hearing is deputies are not seen on roads anymore. And it's great to run this highway. I work for Dover. 99.9% of our business is on that highway, but we got to get out there in the community. Your sheriff's office is a community police, and you got to get out there in these communities.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Republican Party here in Stewart County, we'd like to thank all of our candidates for your participation tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your willingness to serve the public. And also, we would like to thank all of our attendees and all of our volunteers that helped make this event possible. Also, we'd like to thank everybody tonight for your decorum. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, one of the great things that makes us special is we are a small town. And we must conduct ourselves in a way to where when we run into each other in the grocery store, we are still neighbors at the end of the day. And so thank you all for your decorum today. Thank you all for your discernment. We ask that you help make this election friendly and that the best person win the office, whoever that may be. We would like to remind you that early voting starts July the 17th. Election day is August the 6th. August the 6th, there will be the announcement of results at the Election Commission outside of the office. I know personally that it will also be on Facebook and YouTube. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, as our candidates' schedule permits, some may hang around and answer your questions. Others may have other commitments. But we are officially adjourned for the evening. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you need to register to vote, there is registration in the back so you can register to vote. Also, ladies and gentlemen, take some cake.